Hello everyone! Welcome back to my simple and easy to understand SPM Prinsip Perakaunan video series. Have you ever wondered how would you record bahagian debit or bahagian credit account? What is account debit and account credit? How do you know how to complete a journal arm or even understand imbangan duga? Now let me give some tips on this. But before we continue, as usual, for our discussion today, I'm going to call Penyata Kedudukan Kewangan as PKK and Akaun Perdagangan dan Untung Rugi as APUR. Okay, now let's start. Let's begin with BALE. What does BALE stand for? I'm going to use BALE as the basic to understand account debit and account credit. Just try to follow through and you would have some examples later for better understanding. Okay? Okay, now let's start. B stands for belanja and A for asset. So belanja and asset is account debit. As for LEH, here, liability, L is for liability, E is for equity pemilik, and H is for hasil. So liability, equity pemilik, dan hasil is an account credit. What does this really mean, account debit and account credit? Okay, so for account debit, jika BA bertambah, means belanja and aset bertambah, rekodkan di bahagian debit. As for account credit, jika LEH bertambah, rekodkan di bahagian kredit. You might be wondering about jualan and belian because jualan and belian is not covered anywhere here. Correct or not? Where would they be covered? Okay, so here BALE is only the basic and we can use this to fit other components in PKK and APUR. For example, okay, let's take ambilan. Ambilan is the account debit. But then you might ask, how come ambilan is the account debit when it's actually a part of equity pemilik? And equity pemilik is the account credit. Because ambilan mengurangkan equity pemilik. Betul tak? Because we need to tolak ambilan and equity pemilik. So that's why ambilan is on the debit side. In summary, jika LEH berkurang, kita rekodkan di bahagian debit. And same goes to BA. Jika BA berkurang, kita rekodkan di bahagian kredit. Okay, now let's get back to belian and jualan. Where do we put them? Okay, let me ask you. Is belian sejenis belanja? Because we need to belanjakan duit untuk membeli barang niaga, betul tak? Jadi belian ialah sejenis belanja and it would be a debit account. Because why? Because it's a sejenis belanja. Now let's go to jualan. Is jualan sejenis hasil? Kerana kita terima duit daripada hasil jualan. So jualan adalah akaun hasil and it is a account credit because ia adalah sejenis hasil. Okay, just now I mentioned jika BA berkurang, we need to record on the opposite side, which is credit, right? Okay, now let me ask you, if belian berkurang, where do we record it? We record it sebagai pulangan belian on the credit side, songsang kepada belian. Same goes to jualan. Jika jualan berkurang, kita rekodkan sebagai pulangan jualan on the debit side. Dia songsang, jualan songsang, belian, songsang. Okay? So, on to overall, what else BALE can tell us? It is also used for kedudukan baki BB. Have you ever had to prepare a T account but you're not sure where to start the baki BB? The baki BB will be given in the question, but you don't know where to put it, debit or credit. Okay, so for that, you can use BALE as well. For BA, the kedudukan baki BB is on the debit side. We follow the same one. And for LEH, the kedudukan baki BB is on the credit side. So now, where else can we use BALE? Okay, let's go to the next slide where I explain further on catatan bergu. Okay, now, let me explain about catatan bergu a bit here. Setiap urus niaga direkodkan dalam dua akaun berbeza. Di mana satu akaun didebitkan dan lagi satu akaun dikreditkan dengan amount yang sama. Okay, let's see some examples so that we understand further what does this really mean. Okay, contoh soalan 1. Membeli perabot secara tunai RM500. Apakah akaun yang perlu didebitkan dan apakah akaun yang perlu dikreditkan? Okay, let's go to langkah pertama. Ask the question. Apakah dua akaun yang perlu disediakan? From the question, we know dua komponen yang terlibat ialah perabot dan tunai. Jadi, akaun perabot dan akaun tunai disediakan. Bila kita membeli perabot, perabot bertambah, correct or not? And since perabot adalah kategori aset, aset bertambah. According to Balai, let's go back to Balai for a while. Okay, according to Balai, account asset is account debit. Jadi, akaun perabot didebitkan. Now, let's go back to account tunai. Since tunai berkurang, because kita bayar menggunakan tunai, right? So, our tunai akan berkurang. And tunai ialah kategori aset. So, aset berkurang. Going back to Balai, jika aset berkurang, kita perlu mengkreditkan akaun itu. Jadi, akaun tunai dikreditkan. Now, let's see what does it really mean by mendebitkan akaun perabot dan mengkreditkan akaun tunai. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so you see, mendebitkan akaun perabot means for akaun perabot need to catat di bahagian debit, and for akaun tunai we need to catat di bahagian kredit. How do we know what to write in the butir? So we just need to songsangkan the nama account to write in the butir. For an example, in account tunai, I songsangkan the account name perabot into here, and for account perabot, I songsangkan the nama account tunai ke dalam butir di sini. So you take the nama of the account and then you put it inside the butir of the other account. Okay, and both, if you can see, both of them are for the same amount. Okay, now let's see another example. Contoh soalan 2. Membayar sewa kedai dengan cek RM600. Langkah pertama, apakah dua akaun yang perlu disediakan? Dua komponen yang terlibat dalam transaksi ini ialah akaun sewa and akaun bank. Why akaun bank? Because the bayaran dibuat menggunakan cek, correct or not? Anytime a check is involved, we have to open account bank. Now, sewa dibayar adalah sejenis belanja. And bila sewa dibayar, akaun belanja ini bertambah, betul tak? And referring back to Balai, bila belanja bertambah, where do we put it? We put it in account debit. Now, what happens to account bank pula? Account bank is a category asset. And bila bank berkurang, it means asset berkurang. Okay, now, why here bank berkurang? Because we are taking the money out from the bank to pay for our sewa, correct or not? So, our bank, account bank akan berkurang. And what do we do when account bank berkurang? Bila aset berkurang, kita akan mengkreditkan akaun tersebut. Now, let's see how are the T accounts prepared. By the way, we call this type of accounts as account T because they are in T shape, right? So, these are the ones we call as account T. Okay, here, account sewa didebitkan dan account bank dikreditkan. It just means that we are writing on the debit side and we are writing the details on the credit side. That's what it all means. But how do we know, do we write it on the debit side or do we write it on the credit side? Okay, that's where we need to refer back to Balai. And how about the butir? How do I write the butir? Okay, so for here, I take the other account's name and then I write it here. And for account bank, I take the other account's name and I write it here. I'm just merely putting songsangkan nama account. Itu saja for the butir. Okay, let's go to one more example so that it's really clear how to prepare this type of accounts. Contoh soalan 3. Menerima komisen secara cek RM300. Again, langkah pertama, apakah dua akaun yang perlu disediakan? Dua komponen yang terlibat dalam transaksi ini ialah akaun komisen diterima and akaun bank. Why account bank? Again, because check diterima. Every time check is involved, we need to open up account bank. Yes. Akaun komisen diterima bertambah bila kita menerima komisen. And komisen diterima adalah kategori hasil. So, let's go back to Balai. Bila hasil bertambah, akaun ini perlu dikreditkan. Okay, how about bank? Akaun bank also bertambah because wang masuk melalui cek. When you receive money, when you put money into the bank, your account bank bertambah tak? Yes, akaun bank bertambah. And akaun bank adalah kategori aset. Bila aset bertambah, akaun ini perlu didebitkan. Okay, now let's see how's the account fee prepared. Akaun komisen diterima, dikreditkan. Where's my account komisen diterima? Here you go. Dikreditkan. Dan akaun bank didebitkan dengan amount yang sama. And again, what do I write in the butir? I just songsangkan the nama account. Akaun komisen diterima, I write bank. And account bank, I write komisen diterima. That's all. And how do you determine which one goes to the credit side and which one goes to the debit side? We use balai. Okay. How is this useful to us, using balai and knowing which account to debit, which account to credit? Where do we normally use the catatan bergu and balai? One of the important question is journal arm. When you get journal arm questions, do you know which account to debit and which account to credit? Okay, that's where we use balai. Okay, let's see an example of question. Pemilik membawa masuk kenderaan peribadi bernilai 50,000 ke dalam perniagaan. Di sini kita akan abaikan penerangan, okay? Okay. Same langkah pertama. Apakah dua akaun yang terlibat? This is a question that you need to ask yourself. What are the two accounts which are going to be involved here? Okay. Dua komponen dalam soalan ni, one is akaun modal and another one is akaun kenderaan. Okay, now, why akaun modal? Okay. Every time the pemilik membawa masuk anything which is peribadi into the perniagaan, akaun modal akan bertambah. The keyword is normally membawa masuk. So when you see these words, immediately you should know modal bertambah. And modal is kategori equity pemilik. According to balai, if equity pemilik bertambah, akaun ini perlu dikreditkan. And the other account is akaun kenderaan. And akaun kenderaan bertambah. Why? Because you are bringing in kenderaan into the perniagaan. Akaun kenderaan is kategori aset. Jika aset bertambah, akaun ini perlu didebitkan. Now let's see how the journal arm disediakan. Kenderaan is on the debit side where you write it closer to the line. Okay, and then you put 50,000 here. And modal, the account yang dikreditkan, you write it a bit further from the line, and then you write modal, and on the credit side, you write 50,000 for the same amount. Both of them are going to be for the same amount. So remember, for debit, you write it closer to the line. Account yang dikreditkan is going to be a bit further down from the line. And here you write it 50,000 on the debit side, and here 50,000 on the credit side. Okay, now let's go to another important topic which heavily uses balai is apa dia? Imbangan duga. Please do note that this imbangan duga is not a complete one, because it will not be imbang, because I'm only going to be using it for explanation purpose. Okay. Have you ever come across this type of questions which presents imbangan duga like this, where it does not mention what type of pulangan or what type of discount? Okay, now how do you know which one's pulangan belian, which one's pulangan jualan? Or how do you know which one is discount diterima and discount diberi? They never tell anything. They just give pulangan and they just give discount sahaja. Okay, so this is where we can refer back to balai. Balai. Balai is on the debit side. Lei is on the credit side. So you can use this to see which is which. Okay, in order to figure out the pulangan, let's see which one is belian or jualan. Okay, so from the imbangan duga and balai, we know belian adalah sejenis belanja, so it's on the debit side, 15,000 ringgit, and jualan adalah sejenis hasil, so it will be on the credit side, which is 20,000 ringgit. And we also know that pulangan adalah songsang kepada belian atau jualan. So if belian is on the debit side, then pulangan belian is on the credit side. This is 250 ringgit. Okay. And if jualan is on the credit side, then pulangan jualan is on the debit side, which is 120 ringgit. It's the opposite. Jualan, pulangan jualan, belian, pulangan belian. Okay, so how about discount? Okay, so according to balai, okay, let's go back to balai. Belanja is on the debit side. Belanja debit, and hasil kredit. Okay, discount diberi ialah sejenis belanja because we kind of like lose money when we give discount, right? So discount diberi is on the debit side, which is 320 ringgit. And on the credit side is discount diterima, which is a hasil because we kind of like save money when we receive discount, right? Okay, so this is 410 ringgit is the discount diterima, which is hasil. Okay, so that part is for pulangan and discount. What about these two here? Okay, let's go to the next one, which is the bank. Bank ialah sejenis asset, so it must be on the debit side. But here, why is this bank amount 5,000 ringgit on the credit side? Because it's an overdraft bank, which is a liability. So normally question, it won't say overdraft bank here. They will just write it as bank and put the amount on the credit side. So from here, we should already know if we see a bank and it's sitting on the credit side, means it's actually an overdraft bank and dia adalah sejenis liability. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one just says sewa. But it's on the credit side. Normally sewa is a belanja, right? Which you would see on the debit side. But for this question, they just say sewa, but they put the amount on the credit side. So what does this actually mean? If you see this on the credit side, meaning dia adalah sejenis hasil. And this line is actually for sewa diterima. And that's why the amount's on the credit side. Sometimes the question won't mention that it's sewa diterima. They'll just say it as sewa, but when they put the amount on the credit side, you should automatically know that dia adalah sejenis hasil. Okay, so this is sewa diterima, sejenis hasil. So these are all the places that you would heavily rely on your balik and catatan berku. But you would actually be using this as a basic foundation in overall for your SPM Prinsip Perakaunan. Knowing where to write and when to use account debit and account debit is crucial in understanding the entire SPM Prinsip Perakaunan. Okay, everyone, so I hope this easy to understand video was helpful, and please stay tuned for my next upcoming videos. And if you like this video, please make sure to turn the red subscribe button to grey and smash the like button. If you want more tips on how to answer SPM Prinsip Perakaunan questions or would like to attend my free coaching classes, please subscribe to my Telegram channel. I have shared the link in the description below. Thank you and see you next time.